Weencast, a Ween podcast with Shane and Rory.
Hey, what's up? This is Shane.
And this is Rory.
And this is Weencast. And we welcome you to a new episode. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Something is ringing. Happy holidays to you.
A whoop-de-doo. Snippity-dack. Don't forget to snort some crack. You're gonna be coming down the chimney now, down.
And don't forget to suck on my sack, 'cause Santa's coming home tonight.
For old Saint Nick.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Anyway.
Thank you for joining us. It's been a little while and we wanted to get back into doing some episodes, and we have the perfect reason because we're here to talk about last weekend.
Yes.
Which was December 11th at the Fillmore in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Silver Springs, yo.
So this was part of the Philly and Maryland run. So they did another 2 shows at the Philly Met and then another show at the Fillmore in Maryland.
Yes.
And what can we say about the Philly Met? It just didn't work out this time.
Yeah, dude, regretfully, I wasn't able to make it to any of the shows on this
mini run.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was not able to go to any of the shows on this mini run. And of course, you went to Silver Springs. These are the first Philly Met shows that I hadn't gone to. I've been to all the other ones.
Yeah, it's technically the first Philadelphia shows that neither one of us was at in general.
That might be true. All the way
kind
back,
of a bummer.
All the way back to the 90s.
Yeah, all going back pretty far, but
damn, I hadn't thought of it like that. Shit.
Kind of a bummer.
End of a streak.
End of an era. But I wanted to make it to at least one of these if I could. So, and knowing that Rory and Amy weren't going to be able to make it up, it was like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to go to Philly without you guys. And I was kind of looking into the Maryland show and how far away it was and stuff and whatnot for me. Said something to my brother and he was like, yeah, you know what? That would be cool. And then, it got kind of closer and closer to the date, and I kind of left it up to him. If he gave me the go ahead, that we were fucking doing it. So he basically said yes, and I was like, we're going, man.
Dude, the Craigster.
The Craigster came through.
The Craigster has definitely been one of our most reliable Ween sidekicks over the years.
It's pretty true at this point, yeah.
The Craigster's been to a few of the shows with us as one of our closest sidekicks. So that's awesome that he rose to the occasion one more time.
Yeah, man. And I'm regrettably, we haven't gone to any of the other shows that were at this venue. I wish I would have known, it's actually pretty simple. I live outside of Lancaster, and it was a smooth ride. Now I'm jumping ahead of myself a little bit because I just want to talk about, I did post something and basically just said, does anybody have tickets that they want to get rid of or that they need to get rid of or whatever? And nobody said anything. So I just ordered 2 off Live Nation. It was about a week before the show or the Monday before the show. I can't remember exactly what date. And I think the next day there was someone who was like, got 2 from Maryland or got 1 from Maryland. I'm like, shit, but that happens probably every time that there's show.
You snooze, you lose, as it were.
It's I really was just trying to help somebody out if they got stuck with tickets. I wasn't trying to get them for free or anything. I swear to God.
C'est la vie.
Yeah, you know what? So no, I was able to just go on to Live Nation and just get 2. And then there was talk of some bad weather, like rain, sleet. So my brother offered to drive and I was like, hell yeah, dude. He just got a new truck. So he's like, if I take the truck, we'll be fine, basically, no matter what. I'm like, awesome, dude. So he came down to Lancaster and picked me up, and we left shortly thereafter. It was almost 2 hours exactly.
That's not bad.
So that's not so bad. And since it was a Sunday night, the traffic wasn't bad. I mean, basically, I was telling Rory, the route that you take is 30 to 83 to 695. 695 is obviously going to be like the worst thing that you get on, because that's like the big like DC Beltway, 4 lanes of nonsense. But by the time we got onto that, it was like, I don't know, 6 o'clock or 6:30 on a Sunday night. So it really wasn't that bad. And we're only on that for like 5-10 minutes. And then from 70 to 29, you get on 70 for like 5 minutes, and then 29 for about 25 minutes to a half hour. But it was kind of funny because once we got on to 29, the GPS was just saying your next destination is it. Like there's nothing else you have to do after you get on 29. And I'm like, hey, that's kind of cool. And sure enough, like once we got into town, into Silver Spring, right there it was on that street. Silver Spring is the first time I was ever there. It's a really cool little, it's almost like a little mini city in and of itself. Like my brother and I were talking, and we were kind of comparing it to like Upper Darby, like where the tower is, like how there's sort of like a little, like a suburb of Philly, but it's its own little town.
Yeah.
So it kind of reminded you of that.
Well, it's essentially what it is, but for, Baltimore.
But basically all we had to do was go around the block, pulled into the parking garage, this huge, big, open parking garage, lit up like crazy. And it just said like public parking. So we pull in. Each space had its own little meter where you could put change in. But of course, there's a little thing that says like, go here on your phone to pay by mobile. I went on there. I said, okay, I want 4 hours worth of time. I figured 4 hours was a good amount of time if we had to be there in the parking garage. And it just said, okay, if you need 4 hours, it's free. So I'm assuming that it was free on a Sunday, but I was like, I'm not going to ask questions,
Ask me no more questions and tell me no more lies, Dude, keep on rapping, brother. Keep on rapping.
You feel free to jump in whenever you'd like. If I sound like an idiot, it's totally fine.
It's nice to have smooth sailing.
Yeah, man, it was really smooth. And then it was also kind of funny because we walked out of the parking garage and we didn't even notice this because we're like, all right, where do we go? The line for the show was right there.
Nice.
Like it was literally like you went across the street and that was the line. Now, someone did tell me on one of the Facebook groups a few days, because I think I just said something like, hey, any suggestions for parking or anything that I should know or something like that. And the one dude was like, try to get there early because the last time they played there, the line was wrapped around the block.
Yeah.
So sure enough, there was the line around the corner and down the street. So we're like, all right, well, we had plenty of time. So we walked around the little town square there just to grab something to eat. There's a cool little Colombian place that we went into, and we were in there for maybe like 20, 25 minutes. No big deal. And then walked over, and it was funny because the line was moving, but by the time we got back over there, the line was in the exact same spot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, well, I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. Like, does that mean we got plenty of time to still get in there? Or does that mean, I don't know. So we sucked it up and just got in line. We're probably in line for another 20, 25 minutes, something like that.
You got that. You were there nice and early.
Yeah, we had, I mean, it felt like we had plenty of time. We were talking to people in line, and there were some people selling pins and stuff and bullshitted with them. But I do have to say, by the time we got in there, we had maybe another like 10 minutes because we went downstairs. Downstairs, there's nothing to see down there. You can't see the stage from down there. It's just like bathrooms. There's a bar and a coat check. So we were like, all right, get something to drink while we're down here. Well, we were down there for maybe like 5 minutes, and we heard that the show was starting. We heard the crowd start cheering, and we're like, oh, shit.
It's cool when there's not much to do. You get there, and then it's like, the show's about to begin.
Yeah, like we were really lucky, but like I do have to say there was probably people that were in line that did not make it in for like the start of the show.
Bummer for them.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. It's like, okay, does that mean they're just not like processing people in here fast enough, or should those people have just gotten here sooner? Like, I don't know.
Come early, man.
When we were in line waiting to get in, it's like there were still people that kept getting in line. It's not like we were the last ones there or anything like that. The line kept getting longer and longer.
Yeah.
So we kind of wound up, as soon as we heard that it was about to start, we kind of bolted upstairs and got into the main hall. So we got a spot pretty close to the back on the Diener side, right to the right of like the soundboard and the lighting rig and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it's like, wasn't a great spot, but not terrible either. There was definitely people that were in back of us, but not too many.
Mm.
But there was no way we were going to be able to like make it up to the front or anything like that. So I'll talk about that, in a little bit. But that was pretty much it. And the fucking show started. I mean, it was like, damn, like perfect timing to actually get in here and actually, catch the beginning.
Yeah, dude. And the opening song's, pretty triumphal start to the show.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Like brings you right into it.
Yeah, do you want to do the set list a while?
I can. All right, let me do the set list here, people. All right, so they opened up with Buckingham Green, then What Diener Was Talking About, Light Me Up, Piss Up a Rope, Take Me Away, Gabrielle, Sweet Texas Fire, Mononucleosis, Touch My Tutor, The Golden Eel, Your Party, I Don't Want It, Sorry Charlie, With My Own Bare Hands, Ice Castles, The Final Alarm, Albino Sunburn Girl, Bananas and Blow, Cornbread Red, Stroker Ace, Dr. Rock, Polo Asado, Vallejo, You Were the Fool, Spinal Meningitis Got Me Down, Polka Dot Tail, Flies on My Dick, Roses Are Free, The Mollusk, Loop de Loop, Ocean Man, You Fucked Up, and then the encore, Waving My Dick in the Wind, Licking the Palm for Guava, Mushroom Festival in Hell, and then rounded out with Ace of Spades.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, the common, it seems to be a reunion era thing. It just keeps going and going. The set list just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, dude.
It's just like one more song after another.
This was another show that was a lot like that. Just when I thought, oh, this will be the last song, or this will be, oh, it's getting towards the end of the main set. No, dude, it just kept going.
Yeah.
That's definitely been true of the last few years, I would say.
Yeah, and I think it clocks in, I think the video I saw from the Stallion Mang was 2 hours and 38 minutes. And I can't say if that might, may include a couple minutes of, I don't know, like, intro or outro that's not actually the concert. I'm not 100% sure, but
right.
Pretty good length and a lot of songs.
Yeah, man. So shout out to this, before we forget, shout out to the Stallion Mang for his video on YouTube, has the complete show on there. The complete show is on audio on archive.org. By the time you listen to this, it will probably be up on Boognish Monster as well on YouTube. I know that Colleen had posted the 2 Philly shows, so she probably just hasn't gotten to this one yet, but I'm assuming that she will within the next couple of days.
Indubitably.
But the one thing I do want to say before we go on is I noticed within the first 2 songs, at least from where we were, and I'd be curious to get other people's takes on this, but where we were on the Diener side towards the back, like I said, I just thought the sound was absolutely perfect. I mean, I don't think, this is kind of a smaller place. We saw, the Philly Met shows in the last few years. We went to the Atlantic City show. Not saying that the sound was bad or anything like that at those venues, but a little bit of a bigger space. Mm-hmm. This is kind of a throwback to, it kind of reminded me of a cross between not as small as the Trocadero and not as big as like Terminal 5. Like it was kind of like...
There's a big difference between those two, I think.
Well, like kind of like Terminal 5, but without those extra like layers. It was just one, it was the floor obviously, and then one balcony. Like how Terminal 5 had like the 3, maybe it even had 4 different levels. I don't remember. It was at least 3.
And you said that the Trock's a little guy, isn't it? It's farewell. R.I.P.
The footprint was definitely bigger. Like the main like floor of this place was definitely bigger, but like a hybrid kind of like that. Like It was a little bit more of like a throwback of that sort of, it's not very long. Like the Electric Factory was very long, or is, if that place is still there. I don't know.
I think so.
But it wasn't very long. It was kind of a little bit more wide and not as deep, But the sound, at least from where we were, absolutely spot on. You could hear
that's sweet.
The guitar, you could hear Glenn, fucking amazing. Jeaner's vocals, there was nothing that was like drowned out. You could hear everything just crystal clear. Absolutely perfect.
That's so good. So nice. Well, that's what you're there for, to hear them. So it's nice to have the sound be great.
Yep. Totally, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
People that definitely put that at the top of their list, like how was the sound? It's like, well, that should be what you put at the top of the list. Like absolutely no complaints. Just, I want to say it was perfect. And I noticed that, Diener does an amazing job at, when the show starts, getting everybody involved right away. Looking up to the left, looking up to the right, making sure all the people are like, okay, let's go. Let's bring it in. We are doing this thing.
Yeah. Rock and roll, motherfuckers. What are some standouts for you?
Well, you got Buckingham Green and what Diener was talking about. Okay, it's a warm-up. You know what I mean? Let's, make sure everything's working first.
Yeah, Buckingham Green, is a great tune, but it's also like really common. And it's the most common opener, actually.
Mm-hmm. Right. But then, fucking Light Me Up.
Yeah, dude. Diener shreds that.
Dude, I love it. I love it. I love to see that it's coming back. I love to see that it's coming back. And I always liked it more live than it's on the Friends EP, I think.
Yeah, right. I was going to say that's from like the Friends era.
Right.
Friends EP era.
I always thought it was much better live than the studio version. It's, it's a lot more like, fast and furious.
Totally. That was a fun era for me. In my life. The Friends EP.
Yeah,
era.
Man.
Those were good days.
Yeah.
Now that I'll look back at it.
After that, Gabrielle is always fucking sweet. And Sweet Texas Fire.
Yeah, dude.
Bit of a rarity. You know what I mean? I always liked that one.
Well, I feel like I just heard that at the Philly Met like the year prior, or was that Atlantic City?
I don't know if they probably played it at, well, I don't know. I was going to say both, but
it was the Philly Met in 2021.
Drinking your drink, making all drunk. Living in the fast lane, you're a bird up on the wire. Getting all the boys taste of Sweet Texas Fire. Singers live for beauty school, manicures and perms. Hang around the dead, trying to get a turn.
I love to see that coming back. I love to see that coming back because that was really like lost for a long time there.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it was a country album B-side, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So that's a cool one. And then the 8th song, Mononucleosis.
Yeah, that's good, dude.
And it's actually a really cool version of it too.
Interestingly, that song's really rare, but it's gotten a lot of reunion era exposure.
Right.
I'm looking at it right now, and it's like 6 times in 21, like 8 times in 22, 2 times in 18, like 4 times in 16. And then you go back before then, and it's like 10 times total.
Right.
So it's like the majority of the times it's ever been played have been like in the reunion era.
Right.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah. One of the songs that they're sort of like brought back to life.
Yeah. Brought back from the grave. It's alive.
There's a couple of really sweet, mini jams as we're going along here. Golden Eel is one.
The Golden Eel is always good. I'm jealous of you in general because you went to this show and I didn't. But they played Your Party, and I'm always a fan of Your Party, although that's fairly common.
Well, that was cool. But one of the other things I was going to say is I Don't Want It.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
And I don't, I didn't look at how like often that's played. I don't think it's so rare. I think it says on Brownbase a total of 80 times.
That's pretty uncommon.
So it's not like it's so rare. That was a good example of Jeter throwing in the solo at the end. And, we talked about this on our last few episodes. Within the last year or two, like, Jeter's definitely stepped up his guitar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And his little outro for I Don't Want It, that's him, and it's absolutely spot on.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, it's really tight.
I don't want it.
Yeah, I knew that was always one of your favorites, at least from Quebec.
Yeah, dude.
But that's a really great one. As a matter of fact, one other thing I'll throw in here real quick, I forgot to mention, is that Craig and I listened to the whole thing at Quebec on the way down.
Nice. That's a good primer,
Yeah, I don't know why I picked that one, but I'm glad that I did. Because we were both saying that like that is a really great record.
Yeah.
I have tendency to go to the older ones right away, but Quebec is a really amazing album.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry Charlie is great. I mean, that's always great to hear, and that's pretty uncommon.
Yeah, man. And then they went on, Diener kind of jokes around and says, I'm going to do another one. This part of the show brought to you by Diener. The Ween spotlight of the night for this section of the show, Diener. It just says like the same shit like 2-3 times. So he goes from sorry Charlie straight to with my own bare hands. So that's pretty cool.
That's funny. That's funny.
You got Ice Castles into the Final Alarm, which we talked about in the past.
Yes,
so those two have kind of like gone together.
That's awesome. Good catch. Yeah, those two songs, it's a common 2-song block. Ice Castles and Final Alarm. That's great.
We'll have to go back and do a little bit of digging one of these days and just figure out like where that, came from, because Final Alarm, it's kind of, it's still to this day, I think is kind of like an oddball, I think for the longest time, I didn't even know if that was an actual Ween song or if that was like a cover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like Ace of Spades is like a Motorhead tune. I think I always thought Final Alarm was somebody else's that they just started doing one day and they just kept doing it. If you look at the Final Alarm and just go up and down the whole list of all the times that song was played, right around 2009, you start seeing it be like, okay, the song that comes before Final Alarm, Ice Castles.
It starts showing up over and over. Yes, over and over and over again. And then that continues into the reunion era.
It's just so funny just to think like if that's from like the mollusk era, Because if the first time that they played it was 97, that would be like the, right about that time period. I mean, that just doesn't seem to fit with, mollusk tunes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's
Not
interesting.
Sure. That's good question. Have questions, good answers. No, but it's interesting, and it's a cool combo. I mean, they just realize that it's just they go well together, and they totally do. Like rock and roll, brother.
It's like a fire and ice kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You chill it down for ice castles, and then you gotta light it up with fucking Final Alarm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the dark side and light side, Star Wars shit.
Yeah, dude. You got some cornbread red.
Dude, I love Cornbread Red, and I was so jealous that you got to see that one. I think they played it in Atlantic City the first night.
Oh man, I have to pull up my set list, but I'm.
And Craig and I were there for the second night. And I'm like, you get to see Cornbread Red, like again, like, that was always one of my favorite B-sides from back in the day. It's like a white pepper B-side, because I remember it came on the 1/7" with Even If You Don't, I want to say. So that was always I always liked that one, and that was a pretty spot on version of it for this night in Maryland, I thought.
If there's one thing I want you to do, one thing I ask of you, take some money and start anew. Cornbread red, all that cornbread's gonna be red. Cornbread red, all that cornbread's gonna be red.
You got a couple of other standards in there, some rockin' shit, Stroker Ace and Dr. Rock, and then Polo Asado.
One of the piece de la resistance. This is one of the big. This has got to be one of the main highlights of the show, like one of the big highlights. Hadn't been played since 2017, which isn't like super old, but and only been played 9 times total.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts, man. That's pretty nuts.
Pretty crazy. 1,000 shows, 9 times.
I have to wonder like how the band feels about that song. I really do, because I think Aaron kind of gets a little embarrassed. You know what I mean? Even like when you listen to it on All Request Live, I think he's a little just like, get this fucking shit out of my face. But
And it's not really, I mean, is it really a song? Like, what are we talking about here? It's just young fucking kids like being ridiculous,
yeah, start the tape recorder,
Been there, done that. Been there,
start
done
the
that.
4-track.
Roll the tape,
Yeah.
But that's still really cool to like get that live. Oh.
An interesting little tidbit: if you don't watch the video of the show, Aaron sits down on a stool for this one.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because I just did the archive like audio. I didn't watch the video.
Yeah, and I don't know if someone had a sign that said Polo Asado. I don't know, but it's like, what the fuck did that come from?
Yeah.
But but it's fun, and the crowd fucking went nuts. Of course, as soon as they realized what it was, everybody started screaming.
Oh yeah, dude.
And I had to turn and talk to my brother and just be like, don't worry about it. Like, it's pod shit. He doesn't usually tend to go back to the really old albums, and it's like, don't worry about it.
It's so postmodern. It's like, we're going to have a song that's us ordering Mexican food through a drive-thru.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, this is what I heard all day when I worked at the taco place.
Yeah, totally.
Like, oh, great tune, man. Yeah, cool.
Can you make me some guacamole? I have guacamole. Okay, on my burrito, I would like the machaco beef and the shredded pork. And some more cheese, please. Okay, that'll be 22. Oh yes, I would like 2 lemonades and 1 medium iced tea. Okay, that will be 20.07. Out of 22. Okay, $1.52 is your change. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Your food will be right up, motherfucker. Here, let me get your drinks. You son of a bitch. Hi, can I help you? Yes.
Well, right after Polo Asado, Vallejo.
Yeah, for show.
So this to me, I would say, is like the standout of the night.
Yeah.
Now, I think they had played this in one of the Philly Met shows that had just happened, and I caught that, and I'm like, oh shit, like Vallejo, that's really cool. And I was pretty sure that I hadn't seen that one live, so I was kind of wondering like what they were gonna do as far as like repeats for this night, like if there was gonna be stuff from Philly that they would repeat. So they did do a few things again, and this being one of them, but I'm so glad that they did, because it's like a 9-minute jam.
Yeah.
And an interesting little tidbit is, in my opinion anyway, this song is really the standout from Painting the Town Brown. I know everyone right away goes to the Poop Ship Destroyer.
Well, it's classic.
But there's a really awesome rendition of Vallejo that I think is almost as long. I think it's like 20 minutes. I can't remember. It's been so long since I listened to it, but I know Painting the Town Brown was just repressed on vinyl, so everyone's going nuts for that. But that's really the standout of that live record is Vallejo.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's funny.
They just brought it home.
That's awesome.
For Maryland, man. I mean, it's like 9 minutes is fucking Diener just shreds. You got Jeaner doing the fucking just really fucking cool,
Mm-hmm.
man. I'm so glad that I was there to see that, and that I think was the standout for me.
That's cool.
But yeah, then You Were the Fool, always fucking great.
Dude, I just looked that up for myself, and I've only seen that twice live. That's great, man. I'm jealous of you for that.
You Were the Fool?
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of surprising.
Well, it's 53 times total, and I've seen, I guess, 2 of the shows.
Yeah, so that's kind of a low number in general.
Yeah, dude.
I want to say maybe didn't they play that at the Pittsburgh show that you went to?
Yes.
Yeah, it was one of those country ones, yeah.
That was the one.
Yeah, but that's always real smooth and sweet.
Yeah, dude.
Definitely a standout from the country record.
Totally.
Polka Dot Tail is nice that gets thrown in there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of a rarity. And after that, I don't think it's actually counted on Brownbase, but Flies on My Dick, it's basically just like the beginning of Flies on My Dick. It's kind of like a tease.
Well, what's cool is if you click on Flies on My Dick and look at that song by itself, it shows you that it's been played 5 times and then not really played 4 times. And so those are 2 unfinished and 2 teases. So you can kind of see, like, in total, you've got 9 times. 5 times that it was actually completely played, 2 times that they did it unfinished, and then 2 times that they just teased it.
Dude, that's hilarious. Not really played 4 times. That's literally what it says on Brownbase. That's awesome, man. That's so cool to get something like that. It's like, and you get real specific.
So, it might not be a completely finished, but I would still count it. I mean, hey, man, they played it. Like, enough.
Well, we're going to have to get Cody's take on that one because I think that was his favorite song.
Oh, shit.
Of, what's your favorite Ween song? Flies on My Dick. It's like, okay, nice choice,
That's
dude.
right. Oh, Cody, you're going to have to check it out. Let us know what you think.
You tell us if you're going to count that one or not.
It's the flies on my dick conundrum.
That's funny.
That's fantastic.
And then you got a little bit of the SpongeBob thing in there. Now, I think that was,
Yeah.
we saw them do that. It was right after he had passed away, I think. It was Steven Hillenburg, I want to say, the SpongeBob guy. So he had just passed away when they had done Loop-de-Loop and then Ocean Man at the Philly Met in 2018, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So that's cool to see. And Loop-de-Loop is such a simple little short thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if it's like a minute long, but it's still fun. And everyone loves, hey, come on, everybody loves SpongeBob.
SpongeBob is great.
Get that in there.
SpongeBob is great.
Right.
Over that time shoes, it's Betty's thing to do. Sit on down and get a scoop. What's that? It's called the loop-de-loop. You gotta take a big seat and jam. Go over and look again. Make loop-de-loop and flow. And the shoes are looking cool. You go over your back, left to right. Loop-de-loop and you pull tight like a bunny is on a Christmas bow. Lace 'em up and you're ready to go. Make loop-de-loop and flow. And your shoes are looking cool. Come on, baby.
And then You Fucked Up is the end of the actual set.
Which I don't know how often it's been a set ender, but I feel like that seems like a interesting choice for a set ender.
Right.
A set closer or whatever the heck.
Right.
With the exception of Waving My Dick in the Wind, which is fairly common, you definitely have a really rock'em sock'em encore.
You got Waving My Dick in the Wind, and then after that, they bust into Licking the Palm for Guava / Mushroom Festival in Hell.
That's cool.
The Ace of Spades.
Yeah, Ace of Spades.
Brings it home.
Good Dave singing.
Yeah, get some Dave in there, man. A funny little thing is, towards the end of the main set, like I said, we were towards the back, and I said to my brother, like, hey, let's go out and look at the merch and just get some air, because it was getting pretty hot downstairs and towards the back like that.
I imagine.
So we went out, we saw the merch. I'll get back to that in a second, but then we went upstairs. So we were up in the balcony for probably like the last 4 or 5 songs of the main set, and then the encore. And the bar for the upstairs was pretty open, and the actual sides that went out that you could see the stage, they were pretty full. So we just kind of hung in the back So we're just listening back there, and it was really funny because when they came back and did the encore, I was on sort of the right side and could see everyone on the left that went out, over the floor and up to the stage.
Mm-hmm.
So Waving My Dick in the Wind is the first song of the encore, and you just see people, flailing back and forth and throwing their arms up in the air and dancing and having a great time and partying and whatnot. And then that ends, and Licking the Palm for Guava starts, and it's just dead still. Like, just everybody just,
Just absorbing some deep brown shit, deep in the annals.
I mean, I think there was probably a little bit of like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
It was Licking the Palm for Guava / Mushroom Festival in Hell. It's like, yeah, man, it gets a little weird, We've seen them do that a few times, and it's just like, okay, lights. There was a great light show also. The lights and the smoke and shit and the effects were great. So like this was a good example of just lights, like, and that was pretty sweet. Just like, all right, let's just have a fucking old fashioned freak out for a few minutes.
That's awesome.
And Ace of Spades, fucking get some Dave in there to fucking close it out.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's a bummer. Money was tight, but I definitely regret not getting to go.
Well, like I said, I'm glad that it was like, what? Let's try one of these, and I'm glad that we made the trip and everything.
I'm totally glad you went. I'm glad you went. I'm glad Weencast represents, and I'm glad the Craigster got down on it.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome, dude. I'm glad you guys had a little adventure,
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
And you went to a new venue. I'm sorry. And you went to a new venue. I mean, Lots of cool shit.
That was one of the reasons why I wanted to go to this, because it's like I'd never been there, and it's like I wanted to see, a new venue. I wanted to see them in somewhere new and do something different. So I'm so glad that we went. So a couple of other things that I want to throw in there. I have to give it a big shout out to Aaron, because I had posted something a couple of days before the show on the groups and just said, hey, I know that people were making stuff for the 1000th show for this like weekend. And if anybody has anything, a pin or a sticker or whatever, I'd like to buy something. So Aaron said, oh, I have pins that I'll be bringing, so hit me up. So I said, okay, I'll message you when we get there, which I did. We were walking around and going to get something to eat when, I said, hey, we're here. She said, okay, we're already inside. If I don't happen to get to see you, I'll save you a pin. And I was like, okay, that's awesome.
It's very nice.
Because by the time we got done, yeah, that was really cool of her. And thank you so much, Aaron. Because by the time we got out from eating and actually got in line, I think I messaged her again, and she was like, we're all the way in the front.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're up on the front rail. And then as soon as I got in there, I said, there's no way I'm actually getting up to the front. So just real quick, I think it was probably like when these shows were announced that someone had figured out, oh, wait a minute, that will mean, based on the Brownbase numbers, that there'll be 1,000 shows.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at it now, I think it says what, Rory, like 1,004?
Yeah, it says 1004.
So, the numbers are a little skewed, and we can sit there and be like, well, not every show is on Brownbase. And, how do you know about all the old shows from way back in the day that no one ever wrote down and whatnot? But, just stop and think about it for a second. If it's on Brownbase, that means that there is at least 1,000 or 1,004 confirmed shows in general.
Yeah.
Now, we might not know what the set list is for all of them or have all of the right information, but if it's on there, I trust that it actually happened.
Totally. I mean, they're confirmed.
So 1,000 shows confirmed. 1,000 shows. That's something that, I don't want to say only a handful of bands or whatever, but think about all the bands over the years that they would never have, they never will and had never and will never play 1,000 fucking shows.
Well, it's certainly a worthwhile milestone. I mean, they're no historical jam band like the Dead playing like 10,000 shows or whatever the heck they did. It's still cool. I mean, 1,000 shows is great.
I think I think that's a lot. I think, when I think about the Ween shows over the years, it's like 1,000, like really? It's like, I think that sounds like a high number to me. I just, and I'm not saying anything against the band at all, really, but I wouldn't have thought that it would have added up to that many.
Well, dude, they would have hit it a way long time ago if it weren't for the solo era and then the breakup. There was definitely a big chunk of years. There was a big chunk of years that they really didn't play too often, or at all, or they were broken up.
Right.
Darn, damn, Gina.
That's true too. I mean, I just have to give them credit, because it's like, to me, that does sound like a lot. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm not
really
trying to
does.
discount it. I'm just saying that,
no.
Hey man, the history, it's the ups and downs, like every band,
right?
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives,
Yeah, man.
Every band has a story to tell.
Right. It doesn't include all of like the solo shows and stuff like that. So we kind of like lump those things in sometimes, like in our memory and, whatnot. So I just think it's a great milestone. So I was able to just PayPal Erin for one of the pins, and she's sending that to me. So thank you so much. So it looks like a really cool pin in sort of like the God, Ween, Satan, like blue and pink, and it says 1,000th show celebration. And then on the back, it actually does say the Philly Met and Silver Spring, Maryland. So that's really cool, and I'm really looking forward to getting that. And I'll take pictures of it and everything.
The cool thing is that since that's not actually like correct, that kind of makes it like a cool like collector's item. So hold on to that thing.
Hey, take it with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? Like, let's,
Well, and I'm sure that Brownbase is always, like not always, but like from time to time, there'll be like an old show that kind of finally gets brought up to the surface that can be confirmed, and they'll get thrown in there. So
right.
I think right now, it's technically the Halloween show is the 1000th show, but
Right.
and I personally, I look at Brownbase as very they're the authority, but
Yeah.
there's always like something sort of being found or whatever, like deep in the annals
Right.
of history,
Yeah. And that's fun too. You know what I mean? It's cool to know that there are still shows that are still being like unearthed,
Yeah. Well, like
it's really fun to think about.
Yeah, I recall one that's like, I forget what year it was, but it's just sort of like they just played at someone's like house or something. It's like I don't think they have the set list, but you can see like, oh, they played at so and so's house. It's like, how many random
cool.
times might that have happened over the years that it's like not like recorded.
Right. Yeah.
So
That's funny. And then one of the other things that I want to throw in for the night is maybe like a half hour in or so, like 45 minutes in. I noticed that Johnny Williams was straight to my left. So basically it was like my brother was to my left, one other dude, and then Johnny. And I was just like, oh shit, it's Johnny Williams. And so I was like, I gotta be able to at least say hi to him before we head out of here. So we were kind of getting to that point where I was like, all right, like it's getting hot back here, whatnot. So I said to my brother, I'm like, all right, just switch spots with me. Cause there was no room to like, all right, I'll just walk over there and, get right back to my spot. No, if, there was people immediately right behind me. So I couldn't just, get out of my spot. So I switched places with my brother, and then there was another dude in between me and Johnny. So I finally just said, hey, dude, I'm like, if I give you a podcast sticker, could I switch spots with you for like 5 minutes? And he was totally cool about it. He's like, yeah. And I was like, I would have given you the sticker anyway, but thank you. So he switched spots with me, and then I said hi to Johnny. He was so nice. His girlfriend was there. I said hi to her. She was really nice as well. So I just want to give a big shout out to Johnny. Gave me a pin. So he had really cool,
Nice.
I think he was saying that he just had them done, like he just got them. And he said, we are Ween, and it's sort of like a takeoff on the Toys R Us, like we are with the backwards R, and gave me one of those. And that was so cool of him to do that. And I asked him if it was okay if I took a photo. And so his girlfriend took a photo of us, and I just find the photo to just be hilarious because it's like, okay, you got Johnny, who is sort of like the quintessential, like cool Ween, like hippie guy. And then you have me, and it's just like the dorkiest, like, dude, like the cool Ween hippie guy. And then the opposite of the cool Ween hippie. It's just like
you
the
don't need to be
biggest-
so hard on
I
yourself.
it's all right. It's all right. It's like I got, any more of just like, before I leave the house, I say to my wife, I'm like, do I look like a dork? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like it's all good. So, but I had my podcast shirt,
Attaboy.
my long sleeve podcast shirt, which are just the most horrible shirts that I had made a few years ago.
Yeah, dude. But, they do the job.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They get the message across. But Johnny was really nice, and it was so great to actually like not only see him but get to like talk to him for a minute or two.
Yeah.
So big shout out to him. So, that kind of brings us home, getting close to home anyway. I'll throw out there that we were hanging out in the lobby for a few minutes after we went out from the main hall, and I'm not trying to say anything negative or anything like that, but I did notice that it seemed like they had posters for all three of those nights still for sale towards the end of the night. At least both of the Philly ones, all three of them were hanging up there. So I would assume that if they didn't have any left, they would have taken them down.
No, they wouldn't have them hanging up.
Right. So, I'm just kind of throwing that out there. Like, I don't know without checking, how many of those were printed. I think the Maryland one, there was like a foil variant. So they were probably out of those.
Well, do you know how much the posters were selling for?
I want to say there at the show, the Maryland one anyway was $80, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I feel like those prices are going up, you know?
Well, see, I was kind of wondering about that too, because didn't you say that last year?
I feel like $50 is what I got last time.
No, I was going to say, I think they might have had signed ones from Maryland that might have been 100.
Well, yeah, the ones I got, so the ones I always get at the Met are signed, and those are $100, I think, normally, or used to be.
I want to say, didn't you say the ones from last year were 150?
You know, I think you're right. Yeah. Damn, dude. Yeah, hey, inflation.
Those were probably a little bit bigger though. Like that seemed to be like a nice big poster. This was a little bit, you know, and the Philly ones as well were a little bit on the smaller side.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, it's just something I noticed.
Well, maybe just a fewer people buying posters, you know.
I mean, I did see people walking around with the poster tubes, but it seemed like they had them till pretty late in the night anyway. And they had the new pressing of Paint the Town Brown. They had that
That's cool.
for sale
Nice.
that night as well.
Paint the Town Brown.
You know, I'm not going to brag or anything, but, you know, have the original pressing. So.
Well, you can brag. That's okay.
But yeah, man, I mean, I'm just, you know, I'm so glad that we were able to make it, that my brother was able to, you know, because it was a Sunday night.
Yeah, dude. Sunday nights can be rough, man.
Yeah. You know, I was like, do you absolutely have to work the next day? But I wound up going to work the next day.
You made it
anyway.
happen.
You know what I mean? So.
Never the worse for the wear.
Yeah, you know what? We made it work. You know, we made it work. So I'm definitely glad we made the trip. Everybody was cool. Everyone was chill. You know, everyone that we talked to was nice and friendly and everything like that.
Good time had by all.
Yeah, man. Got the hell out of there. Got back on the highway. Got home, no problem. There was even less traffic because it was getting late by that point. So
no problema.
That was a cool. The one thing I'll throw in, it was a really cool venue, and I'm glad to have seen them again in kind of like a smaller place.
Yeah,
but
that's cool.
even with like talking to Johnny. He even said, he's like, man, I don't really care for this place. It's just way too like packed. And I didn't really realize it like as the show was going on. But like once we kind of went out to the lobby, it's like, damn, like the main floor anyway was really full.
Yeah. So
it's like when you have a, you know, bigger act like that, you know, hey, they just played the Philly Met. So I think that's close to 4,000 people. And this place definitely did not hold that many. I want to say probably around like 2,000, 2,500 would be like a safe guess.
That's still a good amount.
So it's like, you're going to have a full house, man.
Totally.
So,
yeah, man.
So before we forget, we want to let everyone know, hit us up on Patreon.
Yeah, do it. No, man, we have all sorts of special shit on Patreon and like behind the scenes stuff and like bonus episodes and videos and cool audio tracks.
I'll throw up a couple of videos that I had made while I was at the show and take some photos and whatnot and just kind of do like a recap of the night. You know what I mean? It's all for fun, but we got a lot of great stuff on there. Exclusive episodes, interviews, a lot of fun stuff on Patreon. So hit us up. Help support the show.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Other than that, man, we want to let everyone know, have a great holiday. Take some time for yourself, right, Rory?
Yeah, man. Take some time for yourself. Relax. Enjoy. Snuggle with your dog, you know? I
don't have a dog, but we got a cat this year.
Well, snuggle with your cat, if you got one.
He's pretty cool, too.
That's cool. Well, you had two, but then the one decided that they didn't want to live there anymore. They just left. But
we had got two cats, and the first time the one saw the open door,
it said sayonara.
Now we're down to one cat. I haven't seen the other one since. I kept food out for the other one. I kept trying to, you know, persuade him to come back. I haven't seen him since. So God bless, pal.
I always just at least hope that it didn't just like immediately get hit by like a car like 5 minutes later, you know, like hopefully it like gave life like a good shot, you know.
No, I'd say he's a scrapper. I'd say he's still out there
like somewhere on the lam, you know.
Yeah,
I hope. You gotta hope.
I think he probably found his way back to whatever the last home that he had. I'm not exactly sure where it was, but I'm pretty sure that's where he was going.
Yeah.
So
He was a man on a mission. It was like Incredible Journey 3, you know?
Yeah. He wasn't having any of our shenanigans. He's like, oh, I'm out of here.
He's gonna unite with a couple dogs and go over the mountain.
And the other one is totally happy, I think, that the other guy left.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm chilling. I'm staying put.
That's
He's
nice.
been happy.
That's good.
So anyway, everyone have a great holiday. Happy New Year. Hope it's not too chaotic, and I hope you make it through it.
Yeah.
So maximum love.
Nice. That's I want to end. Sorry, I'm fumbling it. I'm trying to think of something from the Dr. Bronner's bottle, you know. But anyway, happy holidays, everybody, and take care of yourselves out there.
We love you.
It's a cold and indifferent world.
Yeah, man. Peace. Love you.